buzzed with anticipation as my brother Thomas arranged nameplates for the important people attending today's investment meeting. "Anna," he called out, noticing me hovering by the door, "we need these chairs for actual investors. Why don't you wait in the storage room? You can catch up on your little online business or whatever it is you do." I smoothed down my understated Brunello Cucinelli blazer, worth more than Thomas's entire wardrobe, and maintained my composure. If only they knew that while they dismissed my little online business, I had built Sterling Enterprises into a corporate giant worth billions. "Of course, Thomas. I wouldn't want to take up valuable space." "Good girl," he smirked, adjusting his flashy tie. "Sterling Enterprises CEO is coming today. Can't have family embarrassments cluttering up the room." If he only knew that the mysterious CEO they'd been desperately courting for months was standing right in front of him. While they prepared to grovel for investment, I already owned 40% of their company through a complex web of shell corporations. My phone buzzed, a message from my CFO, "Final share purchase complete. We now control 51%. Ready when you are." "The storage room's been cleared a bit," Thomas continued condescendingly. "There should be a folding chair somewhere." I made my way to the cramped storage room, thinking about the documents waiting in my real office, the penthouse suite of Sterling Tower, where I controlled a corporate empire while they thought I was playing business online. Another message lit up my phone: "All board members present. Sterling Enterprises representatives scheduled to arrive in 30 minutes. I smiled, knowing those representatives were actually my executive team, prepared to help reveal exactly who owned their company now. Through the thin walls, I could hear Thomas bragging to the board members, "Sterling Enterprises has expressed serious interest. Once they see our presentation, the investment is practically guaranteed." If he only knew that I'd already seen every presentation, every financial report, every desperate attempt to hide their company's growing problems. The serious interest was about to become a complete takeover. My father's voice carried through, "Where's Anna? She should at least learn something about real business." "Oh, I gave her some busy work in storage," Thomas replied. "Can't have her embarrassing us in front of Sterling CO." I checked my watch, 20 minutes until my team arrived. 20 minutes until they learned that the sister they'd banished to the storage room was actually their company's majority shareholder. My phone buzzed again, this time with photos of my new office suite, being secretly prepared just 2 floors above their conference room. By tomorrow, I'd be running their company from a space bigger than their entire executive floor. "Anna." Thomas's voice boomed through the door. "Make yourself useful and get coffee for everyone. The real business people need to focus." "Right away," I replied quietly, thinking of how quickly his tone would change when he realized who really controlled his future. After all, some business lessons are best learned in storage rooms, especially when the person they've locked away turns out to own everything they value. At precisely 10 a.m., I heard the commotion begin in the conference room. My executive team had arrived, deliberately without their CEO, causing Thomas to nearly trip over himself with nervous energy. "Sterling Enterprises representatives are here," his secretary announced. "But the CEO seems to be delayed." "Delayed?" Thomas's voice cracked. "We can't start without the CEO. This is our only chance to secure this investment." If he only knew that their only chance was sitting in a storage room, surrounded by old filing cabinets and forgotten office supplies. My phone buzzed, a message from my COO, "Everyone's in position. Ready for your entrance." I stood up, straightening my blazer and checking my reflection in a dusty window. The transformation from embarrassing sister to powerful CEO was about to begin. Through the door, I could hear Thomas fumbling through awkward small talk with my executives. "The CEO is very particular about investments," my CFO was saying, exactly as scripted. "In fact, I believe they've already formed quite an opinion about Davidson Industries." "An opinion?" my father asked nervously. "But we haven't even presented yet." "Oh, they've been watching your company quite closely," my CEO replied. "Very closely indeed." I checked my phone one last time. Another message confirming that news of Sterling Enterprises' majority ownership was ready to be released to the press at my signal. Suddenly, Thomas's secretary burst into the storage room. "Anna, Mr. Davidson wants you to bring water for the executives immediately." "Actually," I smiled, reaching into my briefcase, I have something else to deliver. I pulled out my Sterling Enterprises ID badge and CEO credentials. The secretary's eyes widened as recognition dawned. You're... Yes, I confirmed, walking past her toward the conference room. I am. I pushed open the conference room doors, stepping into stunned silence. Thomas was mid-sentence, his presentation pointer frozen in mid-air. Sorry I'm late, I announced, taking the seat at the head of the table. Sterling Enterprises CEO had some last-minute details to review. Specifically, the completion of our majority share acquisition. The color drained from Thomas's face as he finally recognized me. Not as his embarrassing sister, but as the CEO they'd been desperately pursuing. This is impossible, he whispered. Actually, I pressed a button on my phone and the room's screens lit up with Sterling Enterprises' portfolio, showing our complete ownership of Davidson Industries. It's been in progress for months. While you were sending me to fetch coffee, I was buying your company share by share. My father stood up, his hands shaking. Anna, you're Sterling CEO. Surprise, I smiled, distributing folders to the board members. Now, let's discuss the immediate management changes that will be taking place. Starting with a new policy about storage room seating arrangements. After all, some corporate takeovers are best served with a side of poetic justice. The aftermath of my revelation sent shockwaves through both the corporate world and the Davidson family. Headlines blazed across business news. Storage room to boardroom. Hidden CEO reveals $4 billion takeover. And family business blindsided. Sister they dismissed now owns company. My phone exploded with messages from family members who suddenly discovered their deep respect for online business. Thomas, we need to talk about my position in the company. Father, Princess, let's discuss this as a family. Various cousins, we always knew you were the smart one. I archived them all, focusing instead on the comprehensive restructuring plan for Davidson Industries. The company they'd run into the ground was about to undergo a complete transformation. 1 month later, I sat in my new office, formerly the entire executive floor, reviewing the changes. Thomas's precious conference room had been converted into an employee break room, and his corner office was now a storage space. Your brother is here to see you, my assistant announced. He's been waiting in the lobby for 2 hours. I watched on the security feed as Thomas paced nervously, his designer suit looking considerably less pristine than usual. His recent demotion to junior analyst in the department he used to mock me for understanding had taken its toll. Send him up in another hour, I decided. Let him experience waiting like he made others wait. When he finally entered my office, the power shift was palpable. Anna, he started, his voice lacking its usual arrogance, surely we can work something out. I'm your brother. Brother. I raised an eyebrow. Like when you told potential investors I was mentally unstable because I questioned your business decisions. Or when you spread rumors that I was living off a trust fund because you couldn't believe I was successful on my own. I turned my laptop screen to show him the company's latest performance reports. Davidson Industries' value has increased 60% since I took over. Turns out that little online business knowledge was worth something after all. I've learned my lesson, he pleaded. I could work under you, learn the new methods. Learn. I laughed softly. Like how you were going to let me learn by sitting in storage. Actually, I pressed a button on my desk. Your new office is ready. I think you'll find the storage room quite educational. Over the next 6 months, the family dynamic shifted dramatically. Thomas was relegated to entry-level work, learning the digital commerce he'd dismissed for years. Our father, stripped of his executive title, watched from retirement as his daughter transformed his outdated company into a modern powerhouse. Your father's requesting another meeting, my assistant reported one morning. He says it's about family reconciliation. I glanced at the former storage room now visible from my office window. Tell him the CEO is too busy revolutionizing the company he thought was beyond saving. The little online business they'd mocked had become the driving force behind Davidson Industries' resurrection. The sister they'd hidden away had emerged as a corporate leader who made headlines for innovation rather than inheritance. 1 year after the takeover, I received an invitation to a family dinner. Not at the exclusive club where they used to celebrate Thomas's minor achievements, but at a modest restaurant they could still afford on their reduced salaries. They want to discuss rebuilding family ties, my assistant noted. I looked out over the city skyline, at the buildings now bearing the Sterling Enterprises logo instead of the Davidson name. Tell them I'm available, I replied, but only in the storage room. I hear it's an excellent place for important business discussions. The sister they'd banished to storage had become the business titan they'd always wanted Thomas to be. The online knowledge they'd dismissed had transformed their failing company into a digital leader. As for me, I had an empire to run and a legacy to build. After all, some companies aren't saved by traditional business methods. They're revolutionized by the very skills their old leadership dismissed. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success so complete that it forces others to sit in the very storage room where they once sent you to hide. Sometimes I visit that storage room now converted into a memorial of sorts. The folding chair still sits there with a plaque reading, "Where Sterling Enterprises CEO planned her takeover." New employees are brought there during orientation, learning how innovation can come from the most unexpected places. Thomas passes by it every day on his way to his entry-level cubicle, a daily reminder that true business acumen doesn't come from a corner office or a fancy title. It comes from understanding the future of commerce, even if that means starting in storage. The Davidson name might still appear on some old company letterhead, but the power behind it now belongs to the sister who turned a storage room exile into an empire's foundation. Because sometimes the greatest